Hello, my Support Fibro friends. How are you? I'm just checking in. This was a hot topic when I posted a survey, and we had a lot of comments, and we had a lot of people checking in and asking for some advice. And I do have a lot of brain fog today, but I wanted to make sure to follow through that we would have this as an open discussion. So I just want to remind everyone this is a community discussion. I am nowhere near an expert on this topic at all. So I just wanted to get it started. If you are tuning in live, please leave a comment or emoji. Say hello of where you're tuning in from. I am Melissa Tolwar. I am the executive director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network, and I'm also a board certified functional medicine health coach. So when it comes to this topic arena, I am not an expert. Fibromyalgia and financials, and I can vouch for that, and I'll share a little bit of my experience at the end of this topic. But again, this is a community discussion, so I want you to just feel free to share your struggles and tips. We definitely need tips. If you are more of an expert on this side, especially with handling financials for chronic illness, do share, or if you have podcasts or blogs on this information, post it in the comments, because this is information that we want to help the entire community, because it's a big deal. And it obviously was a big deal when we posted the survey from Patients Rising. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. And I'm coming through with the sound. Like I said, I'm a little off. I'm still recovering from my surgery, just to let everyone know. I'm having some autonomic symptoms from the surgery, especially when it comes to my blood pressure and sitting upright or lying down. It's so bizarre. So I know many of us take a lot of time to recover from surgery. And yeah, my surgery was May 2nd. But I think in reality, it takes me much, much longer. So let's just work through some of this presentation. So talking about fibromyalgia and the financials and how we feel about money in the fibromyalgia community, and join in the discussion. If you're watching the replay, definitely continue to ask questions, or like I said, post tips. If you are someone that understands this and has gone through this, and has come and discovered new tips or strategies that have helped you, do share. And like I said, if you're a blogger, a vlogger, if you've had a podcast about this, post it, share the link wherever you're tuning in from. And I definitely want to compile a better blog with everybody, so that we can share these resources with each other, because this is a definitely important topic that needs to be talked about much more within fibromyalgia, and understanding the differences too, from generalization of chronic illness and then where it falls with fibromyalgia, especially for those of us who struggle to maintain work, who have to do part-time work from home. These are all things, and this is just going to be a general topic area, but I hope it sparks more awareness and more discussions for people also out there who are more familiar with this topic and want to share. But one of the questions that came up in the surveys is, what is your biggest struggle with money? And whoa, was a loaded question, because I did fill out the Patients Rising survey as well. And it's a jarring question for me. It's a very emotional question for me. And it just evokes different feelings of stress and shame and all of this because of my own personal journey. So when you answer this, if you're out there, just post some, if you feel comfortable doing so, what is your biggest struggle with money? And definitely go through it if you have ideas, or if you've been here before and you struggled financially or was trying to understand money. Definitely share with the community, because it's such an important discussion. And shout out to Patients Rising, and we'll definitely share the survey. They're doing a survey right now on money and chronic illness, and I'll post it in the feed right now, so you'll see it in the stream. Hopefully there's no error, but this really sparked a lot of us to come forward, and I love the comments, and I know, again, this sparks a lot of discussion. So keep having these community discussions, because everybody's going to benefit, and everybody understands that they're not alone. because when it comes to money and financials, it is such a big topic. And with this Patience Rising survey, it's going to be a short survey to better understand your relationship with money as a chronic illness patient or caregiver. So, those of us that are caregiving for other people who have chronic illnesses, if you're a parent and all this, like these are good topics to have with each other. In the survey, they're asking these questions because they want to approach experts in financial management for guidance and customized to the needs. So, if you have experience in financial management and you are a fibromyalgia warrior putting out content, this is a topic that everybody is asking about. And again, we had a lot of messages, and I couldn't really answer some of them because they're very specific. You need to be working with some sort of CPA or someone with a financial background as well in how to do this. So, as much as we can share with each other, if you have tools that you can help anybody out or even do consultations, or if there's other services, if there's nonprofits in your area that provide financial assistance, please definitely share the link. If you've utilized them, you recommend them, because we're looking for those resources all around the country right now, because I know people need the support and all the support that they can get. I do want to give a shout out to Barbie. Barbie today is on the Voice of Many podcast, and she's going to be talking about chronic pain and the financial impact. So please do go take a listen to that podcast, because they're making discussions. She's giving some tips on what she used. So I'm also going to share that link with you in the chat feed right now, and I'll add all of these links into the description when I update the video and edit it out. But it's so important to just share all that we can when it comes to this and supporting each other. So please do listen to that podcast. It's very valuable to hear from Barbie and her experiences when it comes to making financial payments for all of the medical costs, because medical costs is expensive, right? We have to really honor the fact that medical costs in this country is notoriously expensive, and then when you live with a chronic illness, it is worse. Like, it's a giant cloud that hangs over many of us when we are talking about paying our medical bills, going into medical debt. So, with one of these things too, is like, I guess there's a special announcement. Again, a shout out to Patients Rising for always providing us this information. Is starting July 1st, a medical collection debt that's been repaid will be removed from customer credit reports. Even though that's said and all, obviously there's contingencies, but it seems like there's some news to this. Is that said, consumers, you still have to repay medical bills. So this doesn't change the debt, but it changes like the credit report system. So this is helpful. And hello, Robin. Thank you for tuning in. I just want to say, yes, it is. It is expensive. Let me get that comment back there too. When you don't have health insurance, and that's probably a whole other topic of conversation, but then paying for health insurance, and especially in these weird gaps, like the way it used to be, if you make too much, and there's still some states that have that weird system, but trying to get coverage, the enrollment periods, having to enroll during periods of times, and then if you don't, like the medical costs. So if you don't have insurance, you're always having to ask ahead of time how much things cost, and you get these big giant bills. And we have to have more transparency in healthcare, which is happening, but it has to go and relay to all of us as patients to understand what we're going to be paying for. And it's a lot, and it's a lot on us to actually figure out, and it's such a confusing system. So medical debt can add up tremendously on people. And I know, like, even my boyfriend recently was having some medical issues kind of for the first time. He's doesn't have any chronic illness conditions, fortunately, but he started noticing how the medical system really operated. I mean, first, the doctors were always late, so he's having to sit there forever and be patient to like wait to get the appointment. And then they would surprise costs, and you just be like, wait, this was my bill? And they're like, oh no, that was last month's bill. You need to get caught up, so you still owe us. And he's just like, is this what like everybody that you support in your community goes through on a regular basis? And I'm like, yes. It's 10 times worse because it's so confusing. So when we get back to this question, is like, what is this biggest struggle for you with like money in general? And it ties in so much to medical debt and our medical bills, and just always arguing with insurance. And so I know Robin here is chiming in that you gave up on insurance and picked to choose. Ooh, but what do you do for the, like, if there's a big event that you need insurance for, are you negotiating with the hospital? So these are, I mean, it's a lot when you're doing this, and then you're financially, there's other things if you wanna go to school, we don't even talk about student debt. You have to if you're trying to maintain a job, but you're thinking of leaving the job. I actually talked to a provider recently, and he really recommends when working with fibromyalgia patients that they don't actually leave work, like maybe try to get part-time, but continue to try to work as much as they can, because he hasn't seen good results when people try to take a break and try to get healthier and then return to work. They usually don't return back to work if they take this break. So it's really difficult. And for those of you that are maintaining a job, how can we better support you to keep you working? Because we know the circumstances of what's happening. I mean, gas prices right now, food prices. There's a lot of struggle with money right now, and this is the big thing too. Stress. Whenever I think about money, and let me know where it's stressful. It's stressful being a chronic illness patient, and like when you talk about money and forecasting future and planning budgets. And I mean, I am not on the same page with the rest of my family or other people or people who can plan and budget for vacations and those things. I don't even know how that works really, when it comes to all of this. So I just feel that there's a lot of stress. And if anyone else feels this way, please definitely let us know, because that's the first thing when I was filling out the survey that came to my mind about my relationship with money and my struggle is stress. I've just always been stressed out about it. And the other thing that came to my mind was a shame. And it's hard because it's like, what can you do with all of this information? And all this commentary that sometimes gets put on us. Like if you're trying to work part-time, that's never good enough. You're scraping by, you have medical bills, or if you're paying for insurance, like that's costly. You have to pay. And then we talk about like eating nutrition, like lifestyle changes, investing in things, out-of-pocket costs, going to acupuncture, a chiropractor, investing in supplements. And like it's all just layers on top of each other. And where do you even come up with this? And coming up with stuff can be overwhelming. And when you look at the budgets and you put stuff together, like where do you land with all this and not being taken seriously in the system? And I know sometimes, I was having conversations with people recently where they're talking about the job economy looking good and benefiting, and people are spending more and making more. And I had to ask someone, I was like, well, what about, the people from the nonprofit fibromyalgia chronic illness? And this person blatantly just said, "Well, those people have always never been taken care of anyway. Like no one pays attention to them anyway. So we're not talking about them." And that's really harsh. But that's why as a community, we have to build each other up. And if anyone's more of an expert out there, I invite you to join us for these live streams to educate. If you have, like I said, if you have a blog or a podcast, or if this inspires you to do a podcast, go do it. And for any of those starting podcasts, starting blogs, if you have this information, I encourage you to go and do this. Please implement this information, and we'll gladly support you when it comes to all of this, because it's important. And we need financial literacy, and we need people to help us understand it. And this is a big part of it. And Robin mentioned things like depression. And hi, Judy, it's so good to see you. And okay, so talking about out-of-pocket costs for acupuncture and, all these massages, things that work for you, and even it's trying to afford stuff, and it's always changing on us, and this is so frustrating. And embracing like what we can do. And some of the things when I was trying to do research on this topic, because everybody's different in the chronic illness community, and that's why I kind of wanted to hone in specifically on fibromyalgia, knowing my own story, knowing some other people's stories, especially when it happens when you're younger. It's definitely a difficult path to take. But having some form of financial literacy, and financial literacy means understanding how to make, save, and spend money to manage your economic well-being. So this includes concepts like managing personal finances, budgeting, and investing. And the big takeaway for this is to try to find help from friends, a family, or any professionals. And I really feel like there's different organizations out there. There's different nonprofit organizations out there that are really helping people. I want to scour the internet and learn more. Because they're definitely they're loving people that out there with these nonprofit organizations that want to help us understand, manage these give us some financial assistance might be available, or at least free classes on what we can do, because I know it's super important for all of us. Another thing that I learned, and just with some of the research, is budgets. So this is very, very hard, and especially when you have cyclical feeling, when you don't feel well, and trying to get through, is coming up with budgets per month, for the year, establishing those ahead of time, managing those budgets. And it's really a dose of reality sometimes, but I always take it with when I feel better is generally when I identify the time to go through money and finances. I don't do it before bed. That is a general recommendation across the board, so it doesn't stress you out before you go to bed. But finding those optimal times when you feel kind of a little bit more focused, a little bit more ready, and make intentional effort to go through budget, understand financing, begin to figure out what you owe, what your expenses are, see where you can trim up to free up money if you need to repay debts. Also, know what you have and how to access it. Don't be afraid to have discussions too as a family, or with just ask for help. Hopefully, you have someone, or if there's professionals or other blogs out there that you can research. Sometimes people offer free consultations. So, I've personally in my life have taken whatever I can get to learn as much as I could to how to manage this. And keeping track of all of this is super important. And understand that you are not alone. So don't knock yourself to say like you're terrible at this. Many of us have not learned this. Through growing up and being an adult, it's difficult. And even when we get into credit cards and all of that, some people are very, very well versed in how to do all these things with credit card repayments, credit card debts, and stuff. So it's easy to get into this. And when you're paying for medical bills, it's even worse, and trying to figure this out, and these surprise bills because you don't feel well. So how in the world are you going to ask these different questions? And it's already like being armed for all of this. I like this suggestion too, is these types of resources are important. So Mint, Budget Tracker, and Planner is super helpful. Yes. So if anyone has these types of apps that really help them, let me know. Because I mean, I learned very late in the game, and someone even sent me this gas app that would track the gas mileage, because that was the type of job that they were doing, and just making it easier to, every time they had to get gas for driving for work, it would be inserted into an app. So it's kind of automated for their bills at the end of the year. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about next, is keeping track throughout the year. This is something I was terrible at. But my boyfriend really, really helped me. And it's important for this, like throughout the year, how you do this, like step by step, and whatever, like if there's applications you need to keep track of everything. Cause I was so disorganized, and then saving things for the last minute. So please, please don't leave things for the last minute. If you can, like, try to track as much as possible, even though you don't feel well. It's just as important to do as much as you can. And some of these apps, like mentioned, can help. If there's free apps that you know about, please share in the comments that are helpful. I know sometimes they have the free version, but you might be able to upgrade a little bit to get some of the benefits. So this is why we're having this community discussion before. So says it's done accounting for years, and it's not easy. They change things every quarter, and my brain can't compute it all anymore. And Robin, you sound like you have a lot of experience. So for those of us who don't, like, this is, my brain hurts. My brain always hurts. And I'll get into a little bit of my story, and where even I messed up quite a bit, being young and not asking for help. not doing the research. And I think now I'm gonna have to get if you're watching on YouTube, I'm gonna have to get there's someone that talks about finances quite a bit. It's general, but I'll definitely get his YouTube channel. A lot of people really like it. And it's very helpful as much as we can get. There's if you can use that information that people do on their channels, they share a lot of free information. Take notes as much as possible to help us all the way. I know there's different influencers out there, so you can subscribe to their newsletters, their podcasts, write it down, maybe do some of those tricks, implement things one at a time, and see how it feels for you. Works with me too. So I like that. And I don't know if you caught that because I saw the internet drop out for a second, but Excel. So I use Google Sheets quite a bit as well. Another thing to recommend insurance coverage. So understanding insurance coverage, making sure you have the right kind is purchased is essential. Getting familiar with insurance coverage and out of go through all of this when it comes to this and stuff like that. So I like the suggestions that are coming through. Um, with all of this, it took okay, so no, don't beat yourself up. See, this is we're learning all this together and QuickBooks is a good one to use. I know we use QuickBooks for the nonprofit and just making sure we put this all in. So I'm just gonna repeat a few of the things because I don't know if it how much it dropped out. So let's go through this again. So Excel is a tool. QuickBooks is a tool. Mint, budget tracker, and planner is a tool. So all of these, and then if you are doing different tools or running your own businesses, that's going to be. I definitely want to do a discussion with other people and how you can set up your businesses because understanding cash flow, if you have any way to increase extra cash flow with crafting, blogging, or any added businesses, that's another way to like help and just add some extra cash flow moving forward. But getting cost estimates in advance, knowing what things cost. I know there's a big, huge push, and we've learned about this in Patients Rising, the masterclass, transparency in healthcare. Being sure you ask for it. We have patients' rights, and we know we can ask for all these information, especially medical costs up front. We need to have that information. We need to be able to negotiate. We update our medical records as such. Well, Robin, if you if you have some tips for us and you want to come on and share with us live if you feel comfortable, or maybe we can just do audio. Some people don't feel comfortable being on camera, so I just want to let people know if you want to do an audio stream, we are able to do that through StreamYard, and we would stream live, but it would just show our audio pictures, not our head pictures. So that's another way when you feel better and when you have enough energy to go through this. It'll be something important to definitely try and work together. Financial assistance is also something that came up with suggestions. Find out whether you're eligible for financial assistance and then come prepared to make your case. And we are going to be looking for other nonprofits that provide financial assistance in other ways. I know there's nonprofits that provide financial assistance for medical costs. I was looking around though, like I think we have to do a better job on our side as a nonprofit to create more awareness for fibromyalgia with those nonprofits because I was looking at the diseases that they do provide financial assistance for. Fibromyalgia was not on the list, so I did reach out. So if you happen to find those types of nonprofits, send them an email. And if you want, you can CC me and I'll follow through and see if there's any way to get more coverage specifically for fibromyalgia if they need that, or if it's just chronic illness in general. Because I hear about different people wanting to do that or providing scholarships for medical costs, medical care. I know there's a crowdfunding website that we had registered for, but I think it requires the doctor to actually put in the costs. This would cover things like acupuncture, anything that's alternative or acupuncture, massage, or some of these types of IV treatments of vitamin treatments. But that particular doctor would have to put in the request in the crowdfunding, and then it would get crowdfunding that way, but it would go straight to the provider to cover the cost for the patient. It's a little bit confusing. So we're working through some of those types of aspects for the nonprofit as well. But there's a lot to cover here. And Danielle says works agency. Okay, this is perfect. Home, you have a lot of experience too. So Danielle, I definitely invite you, or like you said, if people feel more comfortable writing blogs, we invite you to do a guest blog. If you want to do podcast style, we can take off the video, because I know this video is, I don't like video, but we're doing video. But we can still stream and just have our little emoji pictures, and do audio too, whatever makes you feel comfortable. We can pre-record as well. So I can always pre-record interviews with people, and we can kind of edit it. You can review it before it goes live, change what you want. Because sometimes our brains, especially now I'm doing impromptu stuff, my brain doesn't always work and I don't always say the correct things, but we don't edit it live, but maybe we pre-record. So Danielle, Robin, I would love to have you in this discussion. And I'm so glad that you're posting comments and sharing, because these are resources that people definitely need. And they have a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions in our inbox and Messenger, and it was just asking, and people always ask for financial assistance. So patient assistance is very hard. What type of patient assistance were you applying for? Because I know that I actually talked about this with Looms for Lupus yesterday, was these application processes and applying and qualifying for applications. I'm sure a lot of people are applying and trying to get their applications in to get any sort of patient's assistance. And I'm not quite sure of the process, but I know there's a lot there with like sending them the budgets that you have and other things like that. So it's okay, so it's all drug assistance, pharmaceuticals, and things like that. Yeah, I know that's a tricky thing. So, I mean, it's definitely something to maneuver through. I know with different chronic illnesses, they offer a little bit more. It's not something that we got into because I haven't seen that tracked yet, or no, I haven't really heard much from the FDA-approved pharmaceutical companies for fibromyalgia, what the heck they offer. I mean, we've heard of things like good prescriptions and that stuff to cut the cost for prescription costs, which I need to dive into more details, but it's like heavy duty. So my brain is hurting right now just thinking about it, when it comes to this. But I did want to just definitely do this video for all of you. So fibromyalgia and financials, and just open up the floor and discussions, because that patient's writing survey did really hit me emotionally in what it was going through, because I got sick as a teenager. So this kind of messed up my whole financial life. And even trying to apply a disability at a young age was just getting denied and all this stuff, and really getting questioned whether I could work. So my job, work life was horrid. So trying to make a living and trying to work part-time, I was in the type of flow where I'd be able to do some part-time work, or I would try get a job, go to the work, and then I would push myself really hard and then Um, crash out for a long time. And that's what I tried to do, because that's what I thought my reality was. I do much better working from home. And that really helped me, because no one needed to know that I was working from bed, that I was working in my pajamas, that I was working from home. And I do like this kind of shift that we had with remote work, and acknowledging we need more remote work availabilities for our community. But that's why money became so much of a struggle for me, because just trying to take jobs in college, at that point I didn't care. So I was working for the police department in college, doing night shift, because I felt that if I couldn't sleep, so I was getting paid whatever I could pay, I just worked as much as I could for any hours, and then I would just crash. And this is how I sort of established a work life, which was mainly freelance and mainly taking what I could in payments. And how I managed, even working in the music industry, it was all spec jobs. And what I could do, I would go on the road and take spec jobs, daily per diems, and survive with bands on the road. And this is kind of like the living situation for a long time. But then I would crash out for the rest of the year and wouldn't be able to work. So it was survival all the time. It was stressful. It was shameful. I didn't feel like I could maintain much. I tried, and then my work history, and then I would just have to leave. For some reason, my body could only maintain like maybe doing 6 months at a new job. There was a job that I was really excited about, working on a college campus and doing activities, student board activities, and I was so happy. But it's like I was struggling, and then every month I would struggle with a flare because of hormone stuff. I just couldn't maintain anything. But like you feel so shameful when you can't do what the normalcy is of holding down work. So what really helped me was try to work from home. And I do want to have more discussions on working from home and talking to people who have been successful at working from home, asking for accommodations at work as well, so it can better improve your quality of life maintaining the jobs. Because I know for many of us, we want to help you thrive despite living with fibromyalgia and chronic illnesses, to thrive, to continue to work because it's important. I know the path to getting disability is difficult, and you almost have to be destitute in these ways. So, and then especially if you were like me and got sick at a younger age and you don't have that work credit to go into that system, and you haven't worked an extended period of time like other people, it's even more challenging. So these are why these discussions with money it's so important that we have for a variety of us who've gotten sick at different age levels, and we're really trying to survive. And it's a challenge because even being on campus, being in an apartment by myself, like I forgot to pay my bills. I mean, I was so sick at certain points that I couldn't even go to the mailbox at the apartment complex. And I had a stack. I remember my dad being so upset with me. He's like, "You know, you have to pay these monthly bills if you're going to do stuff." And I was just like, I couldn't even get to the mailbox, and my brain fog was so bad. You know, there were points where I was even forgetting how to write a check. So these are things, it's just like real life and being honest about it and asking for assistance. I'm so grateful that, I'm in a relationship with someone that, keeps track of it, and he keeps alerts. He set it up in my calendar system to like even notify me, because I know sometimes people don't like the automatic payments if you're getting an income. But I've been set up with notifications, so I know beforehand when my bills are paid. But sometimes you just like you're crashing out, or you're having a lot of stuff going on, like you're gonna forget. I mean, that's the honest part of it. And that's why I want to relay this. Like none of us, if you have the experience, you have the financial background, you took accounting. I know I took accounting classes in college as well on the business side to really try to learn. If there's stuff like that, if there's an online course that you can take and you feel comfortable doing it and have the energy to, maybe that's something you learn. Or these systems I know that are set up to even do invoicing, like they have free videos that you can learn. They have free versions to send out invoices if you have your own business, and what you can do to keep track. Because I know if you have your own business working from home, freelance, that's a whole new set of hurdles that you have to learn about when it comes to invoicing, chasing money, making sure you got paid, making sure you balance that, having bank accounts, all of this stuff, having enough cash in your bank account. So these are all fees. These are all things that people go through normal, everybody around us. But then for chronic illness, there's these extra challenges that seem to come up. So I'm so glad all of you tuned in and joined me. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you. Continue this discussion, continue to share your experiences with each other so the entire community can really benefit as well. Amazon Smile, please don't forget, we do collect here. We're talking about, struggle financially. But it's hard always to ask for donations. If you do know people that can donate to the nonprofit organization, we really appreciate it. We are a registered nonprofit organization. Amazon Smile, if you are shopping on Amazon, you can shop through Amazon Smile and proceeds get donated to the nonprofit. Prime Day is coming up. Tomorrow, when you join me tomorrow, it is my birthday tomorrow. We're going to be doing some gift giveaways. We are going to be giving away big business gift cards for people. Amazon is going to be some of the gift cards we are giving away because Prime Day. So I'm going to encourage you guys, if you can list Support Fibro as the designated nonprofit in your Amazon account, that would be awesome. So we're going to encourage you for Prime Day. We're going to have some tips for Prime Day because you can still get a Prime Day account if you are a student. And if you need assistance, they have discounts for Prime account members as well. And you can also sign up for Prime for a 30-day trial. Just remember to cancel if you do not want to make that payment as well. But that's one way to get donations for the nonprofit. We are still doing our summer Seas Candy giveaway. We have a year-round Seas Candies giveaway. So again, proceeds get donated to the nonprofit. 100% of these proceeds go into the fibromyalgia programs, just to let you know, all these programs. And if you guys have programs, especially like these financial advisement type programs that you think would be good to fundraise for, we definitely, if you want to fundraise for something and work on that, we'll be open to having the discussion. We just have to follow the rules of the state of California for the nonprofit. We don't have it specifically in our bylaws to give financial assistance to individuals, but as a particular gift cards or those things, and actually providing education, we can provide a lot of education. So please remember us with the giving, or if you have people giving gifts of chocolate, if you know someone that gives a lot of chocolates as their gifts, or even as businesses that give chocolates as a gift, please consider us. So tune in tomorrow. It's going to be at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. We are doing flash giveaways until I'm done, to give the gift of giveaways to all our Support Fibro friends. Follow us on social media, like and share our content. Be sure to like our reels and other information. If you have free stars available, we do take free stars. So Facebook does give us a donation. It's super helpful. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I am Melissa Tolwar. I am the Executive Director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network, and I'll see you tomorrow. So come celebrate my birthday with me. Bye.